The main character is named Ruan-Nan. She's on her way to Chun-Jin's wedding, who's her best friend Xiao Wei's ex-boyfriend, to teach him a lesson for cheating on her. It all started 8 hours ago, when Ruan-Nan was getting ready to propose to her boyfriend after dating for 4 years. While she was recording a video to pour out her heart, her best friend Xiao Wei suddenly sent a voice message. It was about how her boyfriend, Chun-Jin, had betrayed her by marrying someone else. This made Xiao Wei feel super down, and she wanted to say goodbye to the world. When Ruan-Nan got this message from Xiao Wei, she immediately called Li Xiao, her boyfriend, to tell him the news. They both rushed to Xiao Wei's place and took her to the hospital. Luckily, Xiao Wei got medical attention in time, so she's okay. Ruan-Nan was furious at this point. She decided she wouldn't let anyone bully her best friend. So she went to Chun-Jin's wedding to get revenge on him for her friend. As soon as Chun-Jin saw her, he immediately looked scared. At that moment, Ruan-Nan walked right up to him, listing all the terrible things he did to her friend. Xiao Wei had been with him for a solid 3 years, and since he didn't have any money, she built a business with him. When Chun-Jin wanted to study abroad, Xiao Wei paid for it. And now, he dumps her as soon as he finds a rich woman. Ruan-Nan immediately called him a jerk. She questioned Chun-Jin if he wasn't ashamed of spending other people's money. The wife standing next to him heard all this and demanded Chun-Jin explain what was going on. But Chun-Jin kept denying it, saying Ruan-Nan was making things up. Hearing that, Ruan-Nan pulled out the evidence, showing everyone the text messages between him and Xiao Wei. Chun-Jin's wife, realizing she'd been betrayed, beat him up and then left. Now it was Ruan-Nan's turn to act. She recorded a video and warned him that if he ever bothered her friend again, there would be consequences. After that, she showed the video to Xiao Wei and encouraged her not to worry about him, saying he wasn't worth it. Xiao Wei was super grateful for what Ruan-Nan did, thanking her for helping her and always being there for her. Ruan-Nan hugged Xiao Wei and comforted her, telling her not to think about Chun-Jin anymore, promising to find someone better for her. After losing everything, Chun-Jin felt really resentful and started hating Xiao Wei. He declared that if she messed with him, he definitely wouldn't let her live in peace. With that, he posted some compromising pictures of Xiao Wei online to ruin her reputation. The next day, Xiao Wei saw the news and was totally shocked. Ruan-Nan and Li Xiao found out and rushed to the hospital. Right then, Xiao Wei's parents called, scolding her badly and even threatening to cut her off. This made Xiao Wei feel completely helpless, and she just burst into tears. Then she saw the cuts on her wrist, got a bad idea, and ran up to the roof to end it all. When Ruan-Nan and Li Xiao got to the hospital, they couldn't find her anywhere, so they went looking for Xiao Wei. Luckily, Li Xiao ran up to the roof and saw her getting ready to jump. He ran over and pulled her down, scolding her for being so reckless. Xiao Wei complained that nobody loved her and that she'd rather say goodbye to the world. Li Xiao comforted her, saying that she still had Ruan-Nan in him, and told her not to do anything crazy. Ruan-Nan then arrived. She slapped Xiao Wei lightly and asked her what she really wanted. If she wanted to say goodbye to the world, she would go with her. Hearing this, Xiao Wei stopped Ruan-Nan. Ruan-Nan advised her that if she wasn't happy, she could hit or yell back, so why make herself suffer like this? Then Ruan-Nan hugged Xiao Wei, encouraging her to get through this tough time, telling her that she deserved to live. The next day, Ruan-Nan took Xiao Wei to find Chun-Jin. Without saying a word, Xiao Wei walked up and slapped him twice. The first one was for the photos he posted, and the second one was for deceiving her feelings. Then she declared that from now on, they'd go their separate ways, and no one owed anyone anything. The two of them left and went to a bar, and Xiao Wei drank so much that she got completely wasted. Ruan-Nan took her back to her place, and after getting Xiao Wei settled in the guest room, Ruan-Nan went to tell Li Xiao that he'd have to put up with it for a while since Xiao Wei was staying there. Then she went to show him the proposal video she made for him, but couldn't find it, and Li Xiao looked visibly worried. Turns out he'd accidentally found the video the day before and deleted it. At that moment, Li Xiao grabbed Ruan-Nan's phone and kissed her to make her forget about it. While they were getting intimate, Xiao Wei woke up. When she opened the door, she saw them in the middle of it, and she felt a pang of jealousy. When she woke up the next morning, Xiao Wei started flirting with Li Xiao, even thoughtfully making breakfast, acting like a perfect housewife, and glancing at him every now and then. While Li Xiao was working, Xiao Wei even pretended to be sick and asked him to buy her medicine. Li Xiao didn't think much of it and agreed. Later, Xiao Wei put on Ruan-Nan's clothes at home to try and seduce Li Xiao. But unexpectedly, Ruanan forgot her documents and came back home to get them, and caught Xiao Wei wearing her clothes. Ruanan was confused, so she said she was feeling uncomfortable and went to take a shower, but since her own clothes were dirty, she wore Ruanan's for the time being. When Ruanan heard Xiao Wei say she wasn't feeling well, she went over to check on her, but when she touched her forehead, it felt normal. Xiao Wei got scared and pretended that she just had a slight cold. Ruanan didn't think too much of it and just told her a few things before leaving. Right then, Li Xiao came back, and Ruanan was surprised that he was back at this hour. To hide what Xiao Wei was up to, he said he was feeling unwell and asked to leave work early. Ruanan thought that it must have been the strong wind on the rooftop the other day that made them both catch a cold, so she decided to take time off work to take care of them both. While cooking porridge for them, Ruanan got a call from her mom. As soon as she answered, her mom started scolding her and urged her to marry Li Xiao soon. Ruanan reassured her and promised to sort things out herself. But her mom didn't agree and pressured her to either get married or break up to avoid wasting time, then hung up. After that, Ruanan and Xiao Wei discussed her proposal to Li Xiao. She wanted the three of them to go on a picnic to Wishing Lake at the weekend, and she would propose to Li Xiao again there. Xiao Wei, wanting to drive a wedge between them, thought that it wouldn't be appropriate for a girl to propose, and that it should be the guy who takes the initiative. But Ruanan thought that since they were getting married anyway, it didn't matter who proposed first. Soon enough, the day of the picnic arrived. Ruanan asked Xiao Wei to keep Li Xiao busy while she went to prepare things. At that moment, Xiao Wei went to Li Xiao and revealed that Ruanan was planning to propose. She advised him that if he wasn't ready, he shouldn't hurt Ruanan. Li Xiao, not wanting to get married, was very surprised to hear this. Meanwhile, Ruanan had put on a beautiful dress and was waiting for Li Xiao. When he arrived, she poured out her heart to him and then took out the wedding ring to put it on his finger. But Li Xiao pulled his hand away, causing the ring to fall into the lake. He immediately apologized and ran off to find the ring. Ruanan was shocked and left in disappointment. That night, Ruanan lay alone in the tent, feeling frustrated, which created an opportunity for Xiao Wei and Li Xiao to be alone together. Li Xiao thanked her for telling him Ruanan's secret. Xiao Wei started to put on an act, pretending to be a gentle and kind girl. She said that she was Ruanan's friend, so she didn't want to see her disappointed and didn't want him to be in a difficult position. Li Xiao started to be swayed by this, even wishing that Ruanan was as understanding as she was. Xiao Wei continued to say that she really admired Ruanan because she found a boyfriend who was both gallant and kind. At the same time, Ruanan couldn't stand it anymore and went to find Li Xiao to clear things up. Li Xiao was starting to be moved by her words. Just as he was about to do something wrong, Ruanan arrived. Before she could even say anything, Li Xiao insisted that he accidentally dropped the ring. Ruanan questioned him, saying that if that was true, why did he pull his hand away at that moment? Xiao Wei went over to pretend to smooth things over, but Ruanan ignored her. At this point, she asked Li Xiao if he really wanted to marry her or not. Li Xiao beat around the bush, saying that he wanted to marry her too, but not now, that he wanted to work hard for a few more years and buy her a house. But Ruanan didn't need those things. She felt that it was fine if they just rented a place like they were doing now. Faced with Ruanan's pressure to get married, Li Xiao finally found an opportunity to get angry, and quickly turned around and left. Afterwards, Ruanan confided in Xiao Wei that she had been with him for 4 years, that she wasn't asking for wealth, just a peaceful and stable life, and that she didn't understand why getting married was so difficult. Xiao Wei exaggerated the situation, saying that Li Xiao really wanted to provide her with a stable life, which was why he was acting like this. Then Xiao Wei started to scheme for Ruanan, saying that the biggest problem between them was that they had been together for too long, and that getting married was just an impulsive decision. Ruanan was blinded by anger and thought that she was right. She felt that the two of them were too bland now, and that they needed to find something to spice things up. But little did she know that this was a trap that Xiao Wei had set. That night, Ruanan dressed up lavishly and went to a bar. Xiao Wei advised her not to do this, or Li Xiao would misunderstand. But Ruanan didn't care. She was doing this to prove that she was still desirable. Otherwise, he might think that she just wanted to marry him no matter what. In her opinion, the more understanding a woman is, the less men will appreciate her. Right then, 2 men came over to offer her drinks, and Ruanan didn't hesitate to drink with them. Xiao Wei took this opportunity to quickly text Li Xiao, telling him that Ruanan was drunk and asking him to come and pick her up, but her real intention was to have Li Xiao witness Ruanan drinking with strangers. When Ruanan got drunk, Xiao Wei took her home, but the two men chased after them and stopped them. Xiao Wei pretended to yell and chased them away, and just then, Li Xiao arrived. Xiao Wei acted pitiful and apologized to him. On the way home, she kept using words to provoke Li Xiao, advising him not to be angry with Ruanan, saying that it was only because her family was pressuring her to get married that she felt stressed and went out to drink to relax. She insisted that she didn't know the two men and advised him to marry Ruanan. Li Xiao objected, saying that he felt like he was being forced into marriage and definitely wouldn't accept this marriage. Seeing Li Xiao angry, Xiao Wei's scheme had succeeded, and she smiled slyly. When they got home, Xiao Wei staged a scene where she slipped in the bathroom, so that Li Xiao would come in and help her up. Just as Li Xiao was helping her up, she deliberately let the towel fall down, showing her body to Li Xiao. At this moment, Ruanan's voice rang out from outside. Xiao Wei continued to play the innocent green tea role in front of Li Xiao, saying that she was afraid Ruanan would misunderstand if she saw them, and that they couldn't go out right now. Just then, Li Xiao accidentally dropped the shower gel, attracting Ruanan's attention. She went to check the bathroom, and Xiao Wei explained that she was taking a shower. Ruanan continued to ask where Li Xiao was, and she said that he went to buy her hangover medicine. Ruanan was tired and didn't suspect anything, so she went back to sleep. To thank Xiao Wei for everything she had done for him, Li Xiao asked a friend to buy him a necklace to give to her. The next day, Ruanan was getting ready for work when she accidentally saw the necklace. In the closet, she thought that this was a commemorative gift that Li Xiao had prepared for her, and she was very happy, even showing it off to Xiao Wei. Although she felt very jealous inside, she still congratulated Ruanan. She recounted how the two of them had seen two black swans swimming together while walking by the lake on campus. At that time, Li Xiao had said that the two of them must live together faithfully like that pair of swans in the future. Thinking that the weekend was the 4th anniversary of her and Li Xiao's love, Ruanan was very happy and thanked Xiao Wei for agreeing to be her bridesmaid. At this time, Ruanan suddenly remembered that this was a surprise that Li Xiao had prepared for her, so she put the necklace back in its original place as if nothing had happened. The next day, Li Xiao met with Xiao Wei to give her the gift, also thanking her for preventing Ruanan from misunderstanding yesterday. Xiao Wei accepted the gift and looked very happy. At this time, Li Xiao expressed that in the past few days while being with her, he had been moved by her kindness, which was completely different from Ruanan's personality. He had been unconsciously thinking of her these past few days. Hearing these words, Xiao Wei's heart blossomed, but she continued to play the innocent maiden, saying that she would not betray Ruanan, would not accept this love, then returned the necklace to Li Xiao and turned to leave. Li Xiao grabbed her hand. He asserted that he no longer had feelings for Ruanan. She still acted innocent, saying that Ruanan wanted to marry him, advising Li Xiao not to treat her friend badly. Li Xiao asked her if she had feelings for him. Xiao Wei hinted that she could not betray her best friend, but in reality, she was tacitly admitting that she had feelings for him. That night, Li Xiao took Ruanan out to dinner to celebrate their 4-year anniversary. While waiting, he texted Xiao Wei, saying that he had feelings for her. Then he asked her to give him time to break up with Ruanan. When Ruanan arrived, she happily gave him a piece of Swan Lake ballet music. Just then, Xiao Wei texted, rejecting Li Xiao's confession. He excused himself to go to the restroom to call Xiao Wei, but she didn't answer and only texted him not to look for her anymore, also announcing that she would be moving out tomorrow. Li Xiao felt very uneasy after reading the message, went back to the table, and then made an excuse that something had come up at the company and he had to leave urgently, then left. As Ruanan was feeling disappointed, her mother called to check on her. Her mother said that she proposed to Li Xiao, but he had refused for various reasons. There must be someone else. Her mother advised her to find him and ask him clearly about the whole story. Ruanan felt that what her mother said made sense, so she chased after Li Xiao. She quietly followed him to a hotel and saw him go into a room. It turned out that the room belonged to Xiao Wei. She saw Li Xiao and told him to leave, but Li Xiao refused and went into her room. Ruanan was shocked to hear this, but she still believed that he wouldn't do anything to disappoint her. Then she mustered up the courage to go to Xiao Wei's room to knock on the door. Inside, Li Xiao hugged Xiao Wei, admitting that he had fallen in love with her and had thought about this very carefully. He also took out the necklace and put it on her, promising to treat her well. Xiao Wei still acted innocent, asking him what he was going to do with Ruanan. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Li Xiao opened the door and was very surprised to see that it was Ruanan. And she, seeing this adulterous couple, angrily shouted until her voice was hoarse. Ruanan never expected that her best friend and boyfriend would be secretly seeing each other, while she was naively waiting for a proposal. Xiaowei acted pitiful and took all the blame on herself, advising her not to make things difficult for Li Xiao. She also admitted that she liked Li Xiao, but the two of them hadn't done anything that crossed the line. However, in the next sentence, she blamed Ruanan for bringing her to her house. Otherwise, this wouldn't have happened. Li Xiao also thought that Ruanan was going too, far when they hadn't done anything yet. Ruanan was furious when she heard this and slapped him. Xiaowei took the opportunity to hug Li Xiao and beg her to let him go. She even said that letting Li Xiao go was doing them all a favor. Ruanan turned to ask him if he thought so too, and seeing that Li Xiao didn't respond, she could only leave in frustration. Ruanan returned home to pack her things, and before leaving, she heartbreakingly smashed all the photos she took with Li Xiao. Just then, Li Xiao brought Xiaowei back home. Xiaowei acted pitiful, saying that Ruanan didn't want to see them now, but that he should let Li Xiao take her home later. These words of hers completely angered Ruanan. This was no different from her declaring her ownership. This made Ruanan feel that she was disgusting, and she advised her not to act anymore. Seeing the scumbag Li Xiao wearing the clothes she bought, she immediately flew into a rage and demanded that he take off all the clothes and return them to her. He took off his shirt and threw it at her. Ruanan continued to demand the pants back. After he returned the pants, he also got angry and pushed Ruanan to the ground. Then he whined that he was tired of being with her for 4 years, and he even felt suffocated and uncomfortable. He also heartlessly declared that he had never thought of marrying her. Ruanan felt like her 4 years of youth had been wasted. Seeing the two of them, she only felt disgusted and turned to leave. It really never rains, but it pours. Her love life failed, and her career also suffered setbacks. Her superiors criticized that her work performance had not been good lately, and the boss was very dissatisfied. Besides, the newly established company was short of staff, so she would be transferred there to work next week. While feeling very heartbroken, her mother called again, urging her to get married. She could only hold back her tears and say that she would get married in 2 years. However, these things couldn't defeat Ruanan. The next day, she regained her spirits and started going back to work. When she arrived at her new workplace, she met a very handsome man on her first day. However, when she pressed the elevator button to go in, he sneaked in first. She didn't hesitate and also went inside, ignoring the elevator's overload warning. Everyone behind her told her to come out, but Ruanan didn't agree and turned around to tell the man to come out because she had gone in first. The two sides refused to give in and started arguing, and in the end, Ruanan won. Seeing him walk out of the elevator, she smiled triumphantly. Ruanan arrived at the branch company just as the regular meeting was starting. Unexpectedly, her direct superior turned out to be the man she had just argued with in the elevator. His name was Wu Zhe. As soon as the meeting started, he asked her to express her opinion, which made her worry that he was planning to take revenge for what had happened earlier. But she wasn't one to back down, so she presented her point of view. She felt that this project of the company had many problems and shortcomings that couldn't be resolved. Unexpectedly, he agreed with her point of view, even saying that she had provided a good direction for the company. This surprised Ruanan because he wasn't the kind of person she imagined. However, this made her colleagues uncomfortable and made things difficult for her. After the meeting, her colleagues even made Ruanan revise the documents, even though that wasn't her job. On Li Xiao's side, ever since being with Xiaowei, he had been receiving hundreds of calls and messages every day, regardless of time or place. When Li Xiao was presenting his report, a message notification suddenly popped up on his computer with content that shocked his colleagues. The superior was furious when he saw this and gave Li Xiao 5 minutes to deal with it. Otherwise, he would have to pack up and get out of the company. Li Xiao angrily asked Xiaowei what was so urgent. She coquettishly showed off the new lipstick she bought and asked him if it looked good. Not only that, but she also asked him to take the afternoon off to spend time with her. Li Xiao finally couldn't bear it anymore and angrily said that he had a very important meeting today, warning her not to call him unless it was something important. But Xiaowei still acted coquettishly, saying that she was alone at home and didn't like it. When she found out that Li Xiao was going to meet clients tonight, she questioned him whether he was going with men or women, even forcing him to take a picture to verify, which made Li Xiao feel very uncomfortable, and he had no choice but to agree to let it go. On Ruanan's side, she was still diligently working on the report. Wu Zhe saw that it was time to get off work, but Ruanan was still working, so he went over to ask her about it. When he found out that the report she was working on belonged to Beijia, he was very indignant. Ruonan didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so she explained that this was just to familiarize herself with the new business. But Wu Zhe didn't listen and called Bei Jia, warning her not to assign her work to others, especially since this was her project. Bei Jia justified herself by saying that she was just helping the new employee get acquainted with the project. Wu Zhe thought that she was just justifying her laziness. He questioned that if she wanted to share the work with the new employee, would she share the commission percentage with Ruonan? Then he turned to tell Ruonan to just do her own job from now on and told her to get off work. Just then, the chairman came over and announced that there was an unexpected client meeting tonight and needed the two of them to go together. However, at the party, Ruonan found out that these two bosses were very evil. They kept forcing her to drink alcohol. Fortunately, Wu Zhe helped her, so she was able to escape. At the same time, Xiao Wei followed the location and found the restaurant where Li Xiao was meeting clients. Then she called Li Xiao, saying that she was coming to pick him up. Li Xiao felt very uncomfortable when he heard this, telling her to just stay home and not come. Just then, Li Xiao saw Ruonan drunk and ran over to help her. Immediately afterwards, Wu Zhe came and took Ruonan back. But unexpectedly, Xiao Wei also appeared and saw that scene. She immediately acted pitiful, begging Ruonan not to approach her boyfriend anymore. The words she said made Li Xiao unbearable, and he scolded her to shut up. Wu Zhe intended to take Ruonan away, but Li Xiao stopped him, asking who he was and why he was taking her away. Wu Zhe warned him to look at himself before questioning others to see if he had the right, then took Ruonan away. These words made Li Xiao feel very uncomfortable, so he asked his best friend out for drinks. His best friend asked him why he wasn't at home with Xiao Wei. He saw that she cared a lot about Li Xiao, but he thought that she was like a leech, clinging on and refusing to let go. The next day at the meeting, Bei Jia asked the chairman to approve her project, but he didn't agree and told her to analyze the issues more clearly. To help Bei Jia complete her work, he had Ruonan assist her in charge of this project. This made everyone feel very uncomfortable. Bei Jia even spoke out in opposition, saying that Ruonan was new and would not be suitable for this job. But the chairman still decided to choose Ruonan because he thought she was very outstanding. Not only that, but he also asked Wu Zhe to lead her to work on his project together. Before the meeting ended, he even asked her to come to his office later. After the meeting, Bei Jia deliberately bumped into her to vent her anger. After that, she went to see the chairman. He showed her the pet exhibition project and took the opportunity to admire her chest. Ruonan felt the chairman's heavy breathing and quickly adjusted her collar. Unexpectedly, not only did he not restrain himself, but his lecherous hand also moved to her shoulder. Ruonan immediately dodged, and he began to use seductive words. He thought that her colleagues in the company were prejudiced against her after the meeting just now. Ruonan tried to explain that she would definitely prove her ability, but he said that her proving it was useless. Then he reached out and tried to mess with Ruonan. Ruonan couldn't bear this humiliation, so she kicked him in the groin, causing him to writhe in pain. Just then, Wu Zhe heard the noise and pushed the door open, just in time to see the chairman's flustered expression. But he acted as if nothing had happened and announced that Director Kim of the corporation was looking for him to discuss something. Ruonan also took the opportunity to leave. After Wu Zhe left, the chairman felt embarrassed and kicked the chair over. That night, Wu Zhe personally took Ruonan home, and she thanked him for helping her today. To repay his kindness, she invited him to her house for a drink. At this time, Li Xiao saw 2 glasses of red wine in Ruonan's photo, and in the reflection of the wine glass, he could vaguely see the silhouette of a man. This made him feel very uneasy, wanting to see who that man was. Just then, Xiao Wei appeared from behind, asking him what he was looking at so intently. Li Xiao quickly changed the subject, asking her to watch a movie together, but Xiao Wei insisted on seeing his phone. Li Xiao's expression immediately changed, angrily warning her to stop this. He felt that she didn't have any trust in him. After saying that, he grabbed his jacket and left. Xiao Wei called Li Xiao repeatedly, but there was no reply. She had no choice but to resort to the old trick again, going into the kitchen and hurting herself with a knife. At this time, Li Xiao arrived at Ruonan's house and saw Wu Zhe was also there. The atmosphere immediately became tense. Ruonan reminded Li Xiao that they had broken up and there was no longer any connection between them. Then she bluntly told him to leave. Just then, Li Xiao received a message that Xiao Wei was injured and was in the hospital. Ruonan went to the hospital with him to see how she was, but she only suffered minor injuries. When Xiao Wei saw them come together, she immediately became jealous. Ruanan also announced that this time, she came to make things clear with the two of them. Although she couldn't forgive what the two of them had done, for the sake of their past friendship, she hoped everything would end here. Xiao Wei took the opportunity to say that the two of them were not compatible, and they would not be happy together. She thought that she was helping Ruanan and warned her that she had no right to say these words. Hearing that, Ruanan was very angry, not wanting to stay for another minute, and turned to leave. The next day, in the meeting, Beijia reported that the capital investment for the new project was 2 million. When he found out that the funding plan was written by Ruanan, the chairman wanted to take revenge for what happened yesterday, so he angrily scolded her, even though her mistake was very small. He also gave her 1 hour to revise the project, and if there were still mistakes, he would fire her immediately. Beijia also deliberately played dirty, so she was very happy when Ruanan was scolded by the boss. At this time, Wu Zhe came to comfort her, but Ruanan said she was fine and left. Ruanan went to the chairman's office again, and this time he still intended to mess with her. Seeing that she refused, he threatened her that she only had 1 month of probation left, and if she was fired during this time, no company would hire her again. Then he continued to entice her, saying that as long as she obediently listened to him, he would not only let her quickly become a full-time employee, but also let her manage the entire planning department. Ruanan was furious when she heard his words, but she couldn't do anything. That night, Li Xiao went out drinking with friends, and Xiao Wei continued to text and call him to come home, which made Li Xiao very uncomfortable. At the same time, Ruanan returned home from work and saw him sitting downstairs at her place. Li Xiao felt very regretful and lamented that he had been living very badly lately, and that breaking up with her was just a moment of recklessness, so he wanted to be forgiven. After he finished speaking, he wanted to hug Ruanan, but she angrily slapped him, then warned him that if he continued to stalk her, she would call the police. Just then, Xiao Wei arrived and witnessed everything. When Ruanan left, Li Xiao promised to go back and break up with Ruanan to prove that he still loved her. Xiao Wei was frightened when she heard this and hurriedly went back home. Li Xiao returned home and decided to break up with Xiao Wei, and she acted pitiful, then blamed herself for not behaving properly. She promised that she wouldn't control him anymore. Then she moved closer to Li Xiao, begging him not to abandon her, but to go back to Ruanan. Li Xiao was moved by these words and agreed. Xiao Wei was overjoyed when she heard it and kissed him. On this side, Xiao Wei sat remembering the words Li Xiao said and felt a little flustered. Just then, Wu Zhe came over, thinking she was worried about the chairman. He encouraged her not to worry. It turned out that Wu Zhe had been planning to help Rua and then expose the true face of that chairman. He said that all she needed to do was find a way to get him to say what was in his heart and record it. Then he would prove her innocence. Ruanan, seeing how well Wu Zhe treated her, thanked him profusely. He suggested that instead of saying thank you, he wanted her to use actions, then confessed his feelings to her. But Ruanan refused because she felt it was a bit too hasty. On this side, Xiao Wei took advantage of Li Xiao sleeping soundly to secretly install a listening device on his phone. At the same time, Ruanan began to implement her plan. She turned on the recording device and opened the door, calling the chairman over. Ruanan apologized to him and brought up the matter at the company. When he fell into the trap and was about to mess with Rualan, Wu Zhe let his wife in at just the right time. Both of them took the opportunity to grab the phone and leave. The next day, Wu Zhe announced that the chairman had been suspended for harassing female employees, and he would temporarily take over as chairman. He also asked anyone who had previously made things difficult for Ruanan and made up stories to apologize to her. Everyone immediately turned to apologize to Rualan. Seeing that Beijia had no intention of apologizing, Ruanan directly demanded that she apologize to her. Beijia was very uncomfortable, but she had no choice but to obey. On this side, Xiao Wei took advantage of Li Xiao going to work to secretly open his computer and look at his messages. She discovered that Li Xiao was often texting Ruanan, so she was extremely angry. That night, Li Xiao came home from work and saw that Xiao Wei's computer was still on, so he opened it and found out that she was monitoring all of his messages. Just then, Xiao Wei came home with cake to celebrate their 1-month anniversary. Li Xiao couldn't bear it anymore and said the words, "Let's break up." Then he pulled out the evidence that Xiao Wei was monitoring him. She was terrified and apologized to Li Xiao, but he didn't accept it and insisted on breaking up. Xiao Wei acted pitiful again and took out a knife to force Li Xiao not to break up with her. She thought that he was breaking up with her to go back to Ruanan, and demanded that Li Xiao write a note promising not to break up with her. Otherwise, she would drag him down to hell with her. Li Xiao pushed her away, declared that he would definitely break up, and left. Xiao Wei shouted angrily and burst into tears. Just then, someone called and said her father had an accident. She quickly rushed to the hospital. The doctor said her father was seriously injured and needed surgery urgently. However, she didn't have the money for the surgery at this time, so she asked the doctor for 2 more days to raise the money. The doctor advised her that if she didn't have the money, she should at least raise 100,000 yuan to have her father's surgery first, and worry about the rest later. Hearing that, Xiao Wei called Li Xiao to come home. As soon as he got home, he demanded a breakup. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Xiao Wei told him about her father's accident and that he needed 300,000 yuan for surgery urgently. If Li Xiao agreed, she would accept their breaking up. Hearing that, Li Xiao decided that he would only give her half, and she could figure out the rest herself. Xiao Wei acted coquettishly again, saying that she didn't know how to get that money. Li Xiao then told her to go to work and earn money herself, then compared her unfavorably to Ruanan. Xiao Wei then went to try and please Li Xiao, but he left and declared that after giving her the money, they would no longer be related. The next day, Li Xiao went to Ruanan's company to find her to give her a gift and make amends. Just then, Wu Zhe walked in and saw the two of them. Bei Jia added fuel to the fire, saying that Ruanan wasn't a simple person, always planning for boyfriends beside her. This sentence was accidentally heard by Wu Zhe, and he angrily left. On this side, Xiao Wei started looking for a job to earn money. However, because her experience was too little, no one hired her. At this time, Xiao Wei happened to go to Runan's company for an interview. Bei Jia was the one interviewing her. Seeing that her resume said she graduated from Lianjiang University, coincidentally Ruanan also studied there, so she asked Xiao Wei if she knew her. Hearing that, Xiao Wei said she didn't know her and decided not to apply for the job at this company anymore. Bei Jia realized that Xiao Wei knew Ruanan, so she let her work there. At this time, Ruanan was busy looking at the documents and accidentally bumped into Xiao Wei. She pretended to be friendly, greeting Ruanan, even hooking her arm and introducing herself as a university friend with her. Ruanan immediately warned her not to forget what happened before and announced in front of everyone that she didn't know Xiao Wei. Her colleagues then revealed that Bei Jia had an open position in planning, and after a probationary period, the two of them would have to compete for the spot. Ruanan didn't hesitate and agreed to compete fairly. After Ruanan left, Xiao Wei again acted like a victim, recounting that she and Ruanan had some misunderstandings in their love lives. The colleagues, who didn't like Ruanan to begin with, took Xiao Wei's side. Then they fabricated a story that Ruanan was flirting with director Wu Zhe, and that the next day, another boyfriend came looking for her. When Xiao Wei saw the picture that the colleague took, she admitted that it was her ex-boyfriend, then blamed Ruanan for seducing Li Xiao so he would break up with her. Everyone listened and advised Xiao Wei to stay away from Ruanan. Xiao Wei, having achieved her goal, was extremely complacent. The next day, the company was preparing for a new perfume exhibition, so Wu Zhe assigned Ruanan to manage it. Xiao Wei, using the excuse that she was a new employee, wanted to join Ruanan's team to assist. But Ruanan bluntly refused, saying that she couldn't handle someone like her. Bei Jia thought that Eva was a big project and that Ruanan wouldn't be able to handle it alone. Wu Zhe explained that this was a very important project for the company to cooperate with many other companies. Therefore, the performance of each employee would be summarized at the end of the month. When everyone left, Bei Jia called Xiao Wei back and persuaded her that if she just ruined Ruanan's plan, she would be made a full-time employee. Xiao Wei felt very guilty, but Bei Jia brought up what she had promised her during the interview as a warning. Bei Jia also thought that Wu Zhe was now pursuing Ruanan, and he would definitely use his power to favor Ruanan. Hearing that, Xiao Wei agreed to do as she said. At this time, Ruanan was preparing for the exhibition, and Wu Zhe went over to bring her water. Xiao Wei went over and saw the two of them being close, so she took a picture and sent it to Li Xiao. She thought to herself that if he broke up with her, he would never have a chance to get back together. When Ruanan brought the perfume over to put it in the display case, Xiao Wu went over and wanted to help her. Ruanan didn't want her to, so the two of them argued, and as a result, the bottle of perfume was dropped and broken. Seeing that, Bei Jia went over and blamed Ruanan for breaking the perfume, telling her that she had to take responsibility for this. Ruanan was very angry, but she had no choice but to obey. She then posted on social media asking people to help her find that bottle of perfume. On this side, Li Xiao saw Ruanan's post and quickly ran to help her find it. At the same time, Wu Zhe announced that the bottle of perfume was only available in the suburbs. Hearing that, Ruanan decided to go there herself. Wu Zhe stopped her because it was too late now. With no other choice, Ruanan decided that she would apologize to the brand and take all responsibility. Just then, Li Xiao brought the perfume over and gave it to Ruanan, making her very grateful. Xiao Wei witnessed that scene and was very angry. Taking advantage of going to store things with Ruanan, she secretly went out and locked Ruanan inside. At this time, Li Xiao only saw Xiao Wei come out and suspected that she was playing tricks on Ruanan, so he immediately went to find her. Xiao Wei took the opportunity to inform everyone that Ruanan had disappeared. On this side, Ruanan was helped by Li Xiao. She thanked him and was about to leave, but Li Xiao pulled her back, saying that he had broken up with Xiao Wei and wanted to get back together with her. Just then, Xiao Wei led Wu Zhe and Bei Jia to find Ruanan and witnessed the two of them hugging. Ruanan panicked and pushed Li Xiao away, then explained to Wu Zhe that it was just a misunderstanding. But Wu Zhe, seeing her next to another man, was very angry. Taking advantage of the incident just now, he decided to punish her. Li Xiao then stood up to defend Ruanan, thinking that Wu Zhe was going too far. Because they were rivals in love to begin with, two of them argued. Ruanan, standing in the middle, stopped the two of them, and she decided that she would take all responsibility for this. Xiao Wei witnessed this scene and was very pleased with herself. That night, Wu Zhe sadly went out for a drink alone. Xiao Wei seized the opportunity to go and recount Ruanan and Li Xiao's past relationship, then made up stories about Ruanan. This caused Wu Zhe to gradually lose faith in her. The next day, the company prepared to launch a big promotion for the brand and wanted to select a person in charge. To be fair, everyone would compete with their own plans. Ruanan wanted to prove her ability and worked alone until late at night, finally finishing it. But just as she stepped out of the door, Xiao Wei went and stole her plan. The next morning, seeing Xiao Wei presenting her plan, Ruanan was completely stunned. When she wanted to prove it, she discovered that the documents on the computer had disappeared. She had no choice but to present it orally. But after presenting for a while, Xiao Wei claimed that what Ruanan was saying was completely different from her plan. At this time, Ruanan realized that Xiao Wei had modified her plan. She angrily pulled Xiao Wei outside. Ruanan questioned her why she kept targeting her. Xiao Wei then blamed all of her sins on Ruanan, claiming that she had taken everything away from her boyfriend to her career. Now she wanted to let Ruanan taste what she had felt. Ruanan didn't want to compete with her, but when it came to becoming a full-time employee at this company, she would definitely not show her any mercy. But in the end, the person in charge of the project belonged to Bei Jia. Ruanan was unconvinced and went to ask Wu Zhe. He was still angry with her about the past, so he advised her not to let personal matters affect her work and reiterated his promise to her. Ruanan realized that he was misunderstanding her, so she affirmed that she and Li Xiao had completely ended and that she would definitely not forget his promise. Just then, Xiao Wei was about to go in and overheard their conversation. She felt that she had no chance of becoming a full-time employee, so she met with Bei Jia to resign. Unexpectedly, Bei Jia continued to brainwash Xiao Wei, encouraging her to compete with Ruanan for the position. She even helped Xiao Wei make up a background, introducing her to Wu Zhe's mother. On Wu Zhe's birthday, he brought Ruanan home. Unexpectedly, his mother wanted to introduce Xiao Wei to him, praising her in every way. Not only that, but she also treated Ruanan like a servant, asking her to pour wine for everyone. Ruanan couldn't bear the humiliation and had to choose to leave. Wu Zhe wanted to chase after her, but his mother didn't allow it. Xiao Wei added fuel to the fire, saying that Ruanan left in this situation. She must have someone important looking for her. Hearing that, Wu Zhe felt very uncomfortable. That night, his mother kept Xiao Wei to accompany Wu Zhe. When she found out that Xiao Wei was the young lady of the Shuiyun group, she immediately affirmed that she was her daughter-in-law. That night, Wu Zhe drank alone to relieve his worries in his room, texting Ruanan. Xiao Wei went in to take care of Wu Zhe attentively, making him see her as Ruanan. Just when things were about to cross the line, Wu Zhe suddenly sobered up and ran into the bathroom to pour cold water on himself, returning to apologize to Xiao Wei. Just at that moment, Ruanan received a message and ran over. Seeing the two of them, she couldn't bear it anymore and went over to slap Xiao Wei hard. Wu Zhe still wanted to explain, but Ruanan revealed all of her aura as a strong woman. not giving anyone any face. After speaking, she turned and left. After Ruonan left, Wu Zhe also made it clear to Xiao Wei that the person he liked was Ruonan and that he didn't want her to misunderstand and be sad. He hoped that something like this wouldn't happen again, and that they would still be good colleagues at the company. After speaking, he turned to chase after Ruonan. At this time, Ruonan sprained her ankle because she was angry. Just as she had sprained ankle, Li Xiao, who had been following her, saw it and picked her up into his car. This scene was just in time to be seen by Wu Zhe, who had chased after her. The next morning, at work, Xiao Wei started bad-mouthing Ruonan in front of her colleagues again, falsely accusing her of actively going to Director Wu Zhe's bedroom. Ruonan happened to hear it, and she threw a cup of water straight at Xiao Wei, then warned her that if she continued to make things up about her, she would ruin her face for good. The brand's big promotion went very well. The brand suddenly added a live broadcast and everyone went to find sponsors. Whoever won would become the person in charge of the broadcast. Xiao Wei, again taking advantage of Wu Zhe's mother's favor, successfully snatched the wine brand that Ruonan wanted to partner with. Once again, Xiao Wei played dirty to become the person in charge. Fortunately, Li Xiao helped Ruonan get her round back. He went to see Xiao Wei and warned her that if she wanted to get the money for her father's medical treatment, she couldn't compete with Ruonan anymore. If she agreed, in addition to the remaining 50,000, he could give her another 50,000. Otherwise, he would expose her for lying about being a young lady to deceive Wu Zhe's mother. With no other choice, Xiao Wei had to agree to obey. But unexpectedly, Xiao Wei also took advantage of Li Xiao, wanting to play big. She wanted to use this live broadcast to set a trap. On the surface, she agreed, but in reality, she colluded with team leader Bei Jia to destroy all the equipment before the broadcast. She wanted Ruonan to look bad during the live broadcast and then eliminate her from the game. But Ruonan wasn't easily tripped up in the same place twice. She had prepared a backup plan, preparing 2 live broadcast rooms. Moreover, she had installed surveillance cameras in the Sabotage live broadcast room, recording the entire criminal process of Bei Jia and Xiao Wei. Seeing the evidence to protect herself, Xiao Wei could only put all the blame on Bei Jia. Moreover, she had a recording proving that she was being threatened. Bei Jia was very angry, but she couldn't do anything. In the end, only Bei Jia was punished and left the company. When she left, Xiao Wei chased after her, then knelt down crying, even kneeling down to beg her to help her take down Ruonan. At first, Bei Jia didn't agree, but seeing that Xiao Wei was also sincere, she changed her mind. Bei Jia used a seduction scheme to lure the old boss, so that he would return to the company to help her eliminate Ruonan. That morning, Ruonan and Wu Zhe came to the company, thinking everything was over, but unexpectedly Bei Jia appeared at the company, and behind her was the old boss. Seeing this situation, Ruonan understood that she was unlikely to come out unscathed. He announced that he was being transferred back to the company. Since he had colluded with Bei Jia beforehand, he directly fired Ruonan from the company and blamed all the faults on her for ruining the live broadcast the previous day. To protect Ruonan, Wu Zhe took all the responsibility for the live broadcast accident alone and left the company. Ruonan was isolated in the company, targeted by everyone, having to do trivial things, even having no projects to participate in, suffering all kinds of humiliation. Ruonan had no choice but to find Wu Zhe to complain, but unexpectedly, she was scolded by his mother, who said she was bad luck, even knocking her down and driving her away. Fortunately, Wu Zhe appeared in time to protect her, telling his mother that Ruonan was the woman he loved and that he must be with her. Ruonan was touched by Wu Zhe's actions and finally agreed to be with him. After confirming their relationship, Wu Zhe hoped that she would trust him and that he would definitely bring her happiness. The next morning, Wu Zhe took Ruonan out and ran into Li Xiao by chance. The two of them fought each other to win Ruonan, so they ended up fighting each other so badly that they had to be hospitalized. At this time, Wu Zhe's mother led Xiao Wei to visit. As soon as she saw Ruonan, she scolded her mercilessly, even comparing her unfavorably to Xiao Wei, who was the young lady of the Shuiyun group, both talented and skillful. Ruonan couldn't bear it anymore and exposed that Xiao Wei's father was just a regular teacher, and she didn't know when she became a young lady. At this time, Xiao Wei's lie was exposed, and Wu Zhe's mother angrily left. Xiao Wei angrily turned to blame all her sins on Ruonan, but Ruonan slapped her hard. When Xiao Wei was about to retaliate, Li Xiao stopped her and warned her not to touch Ruonan. Ruonan also took the opportunity to take Wu Zhe away, and when he was left alone, Li Xiao felt very regretful and burst into tears. The next day, the company had a meeting about the new project, but Ruonan was not informed. She ran into the meeting room, and Bei Jia immediately drove her out. She thought that Ruonan wasn't a full-time employee yet, so she wasn't qualified to participate in this project. Ruonan wondered why Xiao Wei was also here, even though she was also a probationary employee. Xiao Wei raised her voice, saying that she was personally invited by Bei Jia to coordinate this project. Ruonan angrily left, and at this time, Li Xiao texted, announcing that his company had partnered with her company for a new project. Ruonan read the text and made an appointment to meet with him. Through Li Xiao's account, she learned that the two companies were coordinating to develop a bracelet project, and the person who signed the contract was Bei Jia. Li Xiao felt very happy because he would be working with her soon, but Ruonan said that she was just an errand runner at the company now, and there was no chance to participate in this project. Li Xiao guessed that Xiao Wei was behind it and was going to find her to settle the score, but Ruonan stopped him. She didn't want him to interfere in her affairs anymore, because it would only make all three of them feel more embarrassed. Li Xiao had an idea. He suggested that she make a report, and then he would directly give it to his boss. At first, Ruonan didn't agree. She didn't want to owe him anything. But after Li Xiao explained that he did it not for her, but because his boss wasn't satisfied with the projects that her company had submitted, Ruonan thought this was an opportunity to turn the tide, so she agreed. That night, she stayed up late to make the report. The next morning, thanks to Li Xiao's arrangements, Ruonan's plan was sent to the hands of his superiors, who were very satisfied with her project. Just then, Xiao Wei went to submit her report, and Li Xiao's boss announced that he wanted to change the person in charge to Ruonan. Xiao Wei was very angry, and she called Bei Jia to let her know. She then asked Xiao Wei to go meet the chairman to ask him to find a way. With no other choice, Xiao Wei turned to the old perverted boss for help again. The next day, the product launch was held. Wu Zhe also came and bought water for Ruonan. Li Xiao saw this and felt a little sad. At the same time, Xiao Wei stood in the distance, sending people to cause trouble, deliberately ruining the product launch. Ruonan came forward to reason, but was pushed away by him. Li Xiao rushed up to fight with the troublemaker, but unexpectedly, it was Wu Zhe who was injured. He was immediately taken to the hospital in a coma. She sat next to him, blaming him for taking the blow for her. She burst into tears, begging him to wake up and promising that after this she would immediately resign and not fight with Xiao Wei anymore. Just then, Wu Zhe woke up and heard everything she said. He also agreed with her idea of resigning. That night, Ruonan found Xiao Wei and informed her that she had resigned and would no longer fight. She hoped that Xiao Wei would take care of herself. The next day, Ruonan went to the company to say goodbye to everyone. Xiao Wei brought her things over, threw them on the floor, and made her pick them up. Not only that, but she also stepped on the pile of things to make things difficult for Ruonan. As she was about to leave, she turned back and wished Xiao Wei to remain arrogant and domineering like this forever. However, karma came very quickly. After Bei Jia successfully used Xiao Wei to drive Ruonan away, she felt that Xiao Wei no longer had any value to her and began to kick away the ladder. She continued to make things difficult for Xiao Wei and also announced that she was now a director and demanded that Xiao Wei be aware of her identity. Xiao Wei felt humiliated and decided to eliminate Bei Jia. She played tricks on Bei Jia's report presentation, then deliberately wrote the wrong units. She thought that writing the wrong units had embarrassed Bei Jia, but that was not her final move. She also added a recording of the company's internal strife to the presentation. This made the people at the parent company very angry. Director Zhao asked that chairman check his staff again and then left. Xiao Wei seized the opportunity to successfully take power. She became the team leader, had her own office, and conveniently replaced Bei Jia. But unexpectedly, in front of the chairman, she was still just a toy. He forced her to entertain guests with him in the evening and even forced her to dance for entertainment. Xiao Wei couldn't stand it anymore and ran outside. While lost and disoriented walking down the street, she met Bei Jia. Bei Jia blamed Xiao Wei for ruining her reputation and career, and now no company wanted to hire her anymore. While the two were arguing, Bei Jia accidentally pushed Xiao Wei down the steps. She was then taken to the hospital for bandages. Looking at the patients next to her, all of them had relatives and friends by their side. Before, she still had Ruonan caring for her, but now she was all alone. At this time, she realized her mistakes and was extremely regretful for what she had done to Ruonan. It was all because of her own selfishness that she lost it all. Xiao Wei realized this, mustered up the courage, and went to Ruonan to apologize. The two opened their hearts, resolved their past grievances, and let go of everything together. After that, Xiao Wei told Ruonan about the deal she made with the chairman, trading her body for power, which allowed her to advance quickly. However, last night they had played dirty tricks with her, so Xiao Wei had no choice but to leave. But that chairman definitely wouldn't let her go. Ruonan was still worried about Xiao Wei, and when she heard that it was the scum chairman playing tricks again, she decided to help Xiao Wei escape from suffering. She would take the opportunity to expose his despicable actions and let him leave the company, freeing the other female colleagues. Next, Ruonan began to contact everyone. The odd couple, Li Xiao and Wu Zhe, began to cooperate, helping Ruonan investigate the chairman's crimes. Xiao Wei again continued to infiltrate the tiger's den, going to apologize to Director Zhao with the chairman. Xiao Wei began to set a trap and turned on the recording. Director Zhao told her that the chairman wanted to start his own company and entice the current company's customers to his own company. When the evidence was clear, Ruonan went to see Director Kim of the parent company and told him everything. All of the chairman's crimes were exposed, but he still wanted to deny it. However, when he saw the contract in Ruonan's hand, he laughed and said that there was no signature of his on it, so the evidence was definitely false. Li Xiao admitted that just with a name, they couldn't convict him, but they had prepared a witness. The moment Director Zhao appeared, the chairman completely panicked and frantically grabbed a knife, wanting to steal the contract. Li Xiao rushed up to grab it, but was pushed aside by him. Then he took the knife and lunged at Ruonan. At this time, Xiao Wei woke up and took a knife for Ruonan. Then she said that from now on, they didn't owe each other anything anymore. When Xiao Wei woke up in the hospital, she asked Ruonan if they could go back to the way they were before. Ruonan didn't think about it much and immediately agreed. Xiao Wei decided that after she recovered, she would go back to her hometown to live. Ruonan wanted to travel with Wu Zhe when he recovered. That night, Li Xiao met with Ruonan and suggested that she come to his company to work, but she refused because she wanted to spend time with Wu Zhe in the near future. She also advised Li Xiao not to dwell on the past and to live well for the future. In the end, the two decided to be good friends. The movie ends here. Thank you for watching. If you like it, please give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell to wait for the latest movies. Goodbye and see you again.